Hi there everyone, so today's video is about freezing cabbage. I've came to the realisation that I use a lot of frozen product in my videos, and some of it is stuff that I've frozen myself rather than shop bought. So it's useful for you to know how to go ahead and how to actually freeze these and store them until you require them. So let's crack on, let's freeze a cabbage!
So first things first, we require a medium round white cabbage, which is about 1.1 to 1.3 kilograms in weight, very approximately. Now, it's not always going to be the case. Sometimes the outer leaves are nice, sometimes they aren't. If the outer leaves aren't so nice, we remove them. And from here, we want to quarter our cabbage. Sit the cabbage on the cut root side down and half it, then lay it flat on the newly exposed flat sides and half it again, giving us our quarters. Just eyeball it. You're going to find some variation, maybe even as much as 100 grams variation, but just eyeball it. It's close enough for the job. And just to prove that variation, let's weigh some here. 262 grams, 257 grams I think that says, and 290 grams, and 380. So over 100 grams variation there on one of them. It's close enough. Bring a large pot of water to the boil, and once at the boil you can add your cabbage quarters. For the video I used one, but I tend to do them two at a time. And we're going to leave the cabbage in the water for 3 minutes, no shorter, no longer, unless you've shredded your cabbage rather than quartering it. And if it's shredded cabbage you're using, you're going to do it for 1.5 minutes, no shorter, no longer. We don't want to overcook it, but we want to kill off anything that's on the cabbage prior for freezing. This part's probably not required and might be overkill, but I use my spider strainer as a weight just to keep all of the cabbage under the water as we blanch it for the 3 minutes. And once the cabbage has been in the boiling water for the right amount of time, take a spider strainer and we're going to fish out the cabbage. And from here, we want to take our cabbage and transfer it straight into a basin of cold water. You can use iced water. If your tap water's cold enough, use tap water. Mine's generally is. We're going to keep it in there for at least the length of time that we've been blanching it, which is 3 minutes. I tend to go a little bit longer and keep it for 5 minutes. And once the cabbage has been in the water long enough, we're going to take it out, give it a really good shake to take off as much water as we can in preparation for drying. Now, after blanching it, I noticed that the root on this one was a little bit thick. This was the heaviest one, so I just trim off a little bit of that before we set it aside for drying. And now we want to dry our cabbage to prevent any freezer burn, or at least reduce the chance of freezer burn. We do that by laying them out on some paper towels. The paper towels will draw down the moisture that's sitting on them, and if need be, we also pat the top of the cabbage as well to remove any moisture from there also. And between the blanching and the cooling process, and also the removal of that root section, some of the leaves have separated. That's okay. If we can dry them separately and then reassemble it as a quarter, that's absolutely fine and dandy. In fact, it's almost slightly preferable because it's easier to dry each individual leaf that way. So we're going to dry the individual leaves as we see. I'm just peeling some of them apart as well because they're coming apart nice and easy. And once fully dried, we're going to transfer these over to a silicone lined baking tray ready to go in our freezer. And once we're happy that the cabbage is dried and most of the water has come off them, we're going to transfer them across to a silicone lined baking tray, which we're then going to put in the freezer. Now, I'm quite lucky. I don't know if all freezers are going to be the same, but the drawer size is almost a perfect fit for my trays. So just put it in there, and we're going to let each cabbage quarter dry in our freeze up in different drawers. Now we want them in there for at least an hour. And once our hour is over, we can take and transfer our frozen cabbage into a freezer bag and store it in there until we require it.
So there we go, baggies of frozen cabbage ready to use just as soon as you need them. As I say, generally when you buy a cabbage, one cabbage is often too much for a recipe, so freezing your cabbage and keeping it until you need it stops waste, saves you money. If you like the video, if you've not watched one of my videos before, please subscribe If you are a subscriber and you've watched another video and you're enjoying them, send it among your socials and let them see them as well, just in case they like the videos, because I'm looking to grow the channel, and the best way to grow a channel is through recommendation. So, thanks for watching. You guys stay safe. All the best to you.